Hey everyone, Bill Sheridan back again, this time with an interview with futurist, strategist, and author Daniel Burrus. He's one of the preeminent thought leaders when it comes to future trends and innovation, and he keynoted the 2012 CCH User Conference in San Diego, where he made what I thought was a really good point about change and future trends. And that point was simply this. The key to staying on top of everything these days is not change for change's sake. It's simply to ask better questions, because when you ask better questions, you get better answers. And here's a case in point, the mobile movement. Daniel Burrus says it's not a case of mobile apps versus the mobile web. It's more a case of having mobile as a state of mind and not as a tactic. That's the kind of thing he was talking about. He was gracious enough to sit down with me before his keynote, and he had a lot of great things to say about how CPAs can maintain and even expand their competitive advantage in an era of great change. Here's Daniel Burrus. So I think we're all kind of feeling the crush of constant change and uncertainty these days. And at the same time, I think we're all kind of wondering, how do we keep up with it all? So I guess my first question is, what should we be paying attention to? What are the really relevant trends that really bear paying close attention to?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's address something you just mentioned. That is, we're all really busy. And it seems like we're getting busier. But let me just ask you a question. Were the top 5 executives of General Motors really busy every day for the 2 years before they went bankrupt? The answer is yeah. In other words, busy didn't help them, and it's not going to help you either, because something's happening right now that we all know is unusual. I mean, look at how many iPhones and iPads. I work with Google as well as Apple, and I can tell you that Google is activating 1 million a day. And then if you add in what Apple is activating, which is even more than that, on a daily level, just take a month, and what do you got? You've got a revolution taking place in that mobile space. And when we think mobile, we think that it is an iPhone or an Android or it's a tablet. We don't realize that it's actually the wrong questions to be looking at. So we need to be asking ourselves really good questions to really get down to the meat of what's going on. For example, on mobility, I would want to ask, how can I transform every business process I've got with mobility? Now, if I ask that question, I'm going to get a lot better answer than if I'm looking at apps and I'm just looking at whether I should get the latest iPhone or tablet. And because we're in a transformational time, not a change time. And let me take a second to talk about that, because a lot of people say we're transforming when they're just changing, just like a lot of people say their companies are collaborating when they're really just cooperating. So let me just describe the difference, and then I'll let you know exactly what we're doing. And that is, when I was a young guy, I could listen to 1 album per spinning disc, 33 1/3. I'm sure all of us know what I'm talking about. And as I got older, there was a change that came along. I could get 1 album per smaller spinning disc CD. And I like that. Not because of its size. It got rid of the pisses and the pops and the scratches. I like that. I bought all my old stuff, got all my new stuff on CD. That was a nice change. Today, of course, just like you, I've got all my music, I've got all my emails, I've got all my videos, I've got all my photography, I've got access to the internet and all these great systems in my pocket right now, in my smartphone. That didn't change how I listen to music, it transformed it. So, here it is. In the next 5 years, guaranteed, we're going to not change, we're going to transform how we sell, how we market, how we communicate, how we collaborate, how we innovate, how we train, how we educate. And is this just for the big companies? No. It's about relevancy in a world that is transforming. And I said 5 years. I gave us 5, that 5 years is going to by fast, really fast. So this is a big deal. It's the biggest deal that's ever happened since you've been around. And what it represents is amazing opportunity for us to find ways of bringing new value to our clients. Take a look at how we bill. A lot of us bill on time. Yet these tools are making us extremely productive. You think you're productive now. Wait till you start using big data coupled with high-speed analytics. When you start using your smartphone tapped into a supercomputer up in the cloud, even if you only got 5 people in your company, and start crunching numbers with the supercomputer up there on your phone or on your tablet. What really is taking place right now is giving us unbelievable new productivity. So what does that mean? Well, if you bill for hours, you're going to be increasingly falling behind because you're going to be spending less hours to do the same thing. So we're going to even have to start changing and asking ourselves, is there a better way to bill? What does value-based billing really look like versus hour billing? And by the way, are we the only profession experiencing this? No. Talk to lawyers. Talk to people that are advertising agencies. They bill by how much the ad costs, but yet I can measure the results of the ad in real time. Somebody's going to come around and change that. So we've got an amazing opportunity. And I know some of you are thinking, it doesn't sound like an opportunity to me. It sounds like a problem. No, it is an opportunity when you can see it before it happens. And the biggest changes haven't yet happened, and they're happening over a short period of time. So instead of being so busy, what do I want you to do? I don't want you to just be busy all the time. You can be busy yourself right out of business. So 1 hour a week, let's try that. An hour a week is doable. Put it in your calendar. Make an appointment, otherwise you'll be too busy. And in that hour, I'd like you to ask yourself, what are the things that I'm absolutely certain about in a world of transformational change? What am I certain about? And you're going to find you get some big answers, because in a world of uncertainty, uncertainty doesn't empower you to move forward, certainty does. So are we going to be able to deliver just-in-time training over the next several years using mobility, like apps and smartphones? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got the iPhone 5, the iPhone 6. Will it have a faster processor? What do you think? Of course it will. Are you certain? Yeah, of course it will. Is it going to have more storage? Are we putting more in the cloud, or is the cloud getting full? We got 3G wireless, we got 4G wireless. Is that it? Or might you be able to predict what you can call the next one? I mean, all this stuff is fully predictable. It's all there for us to see. So let's stop being so busy. Let's spend an hour with our partners, with our colleagues, and start asking ourselves, what are what I call the hard trends, those certainties that will happen? Because there are hard trends and soft trends. Hard trends will happen, soft trends might. Separating those two is really, really important. Just like we got 78 million people getting older. Matter of fact, we got 75% of the people listening to this right now are going to be retired in the next 7-8 years, maybe less. Is that a problem? Well, yeah, but it also represents a huge opportunity. But you need to take action now before it happens. Because if you wait until it happens, what do you have? Disruption and problems. But again, we can anticipate those and turn them into opportunities.
So here's something about the CPA profession, and I'm sure you're well aware. They account for things that have already taken place. It's kind of like looking backward at things that have already happened and accounting for that. And I think because of that, CPAs are notoriously late adopters of the new. How can we kind of turn that thinking around? I mean, in an era when it's so vital that they kind of, do swivel their heads and look toward the horizon and see what's coming at them before they get run over. What are some easy steps for someone to take to kind of adopt that forward-thinking mentality?
Right. Number one, you do not need to be a technologist. You don't have to know how to do all this stuff. You got young people that do. You see, there's a war between the young and the old. The young look at the older people in the firm and think, hey, they don't get it. You know what? They're right. And the older people in the firm look at the young people and say, hey, they don't get it. And you know what? You're right. But we have a perfect fit. So instead of trying to figure it out on your own, get some of those 20-somethings and 30-somethings in there and work together to start really looking at what those opportunities are. So you don't have to. See, if you've been around for a while, you've got something the young folks don't have. Knowledge, experience, wisdom. It takes decades to get that. They can't take a course on that and come back to you in a month and have it. That's your gold. But you've got a box and it took you years to build it and you're in it. They're still trying to find their box, which means since they don't have all that experience, they've got a little bit more of an open mind. Another thing that I think is important for us to help us is a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's an old Chinese proverb. You don't have to do it all right now, an hour a week. I mean, do what you do, but an hour a week, take a look at this and take some actions. Again, the relevancy dial is ticking down unless you bring it back. It's about being relevant to your customers. Another thing, I've started 6 companies, and I can tell you right now, I like accountants. I'm a forward-thinking guy. I've written 6 books on the future. So do I want a profession, and do I want an accountant to be that knows how to look at my history and my company's history, who's really good? Yeah, why? I want insights. I want to make the invisible visible. And if I got a good accountant, they can help me make the invisible visible. So the profession and the need for the profession is extremely valid and very important. But how we do it and how we bring new value, consultative value, to our clients, hey, there's an opportunity for that. Instead of just seeing them once a year, great, and then you never see them again. You can get your app on my phone if you're my accountant, and you could be helping me and coaching me and making sure that I'm being tax efficient instead of me finding out from you at the end that I wasn't tax efficient. Gee, I should have talked to you. I need you, but I don't need the old you. I need a new you that understands the transformation, because you see, your customer, in this case the example I'm giving is me, I'm going through that as your customer. If you aren't, then you're out of touch.
And it almost sounds as though that the transformation, the changes that we're dealing with now could end up transforming the profession as well. I mean, freeing up accountants from the mundane work that they've normally done. New technology will do that for them, giving them the opportunity to create new value by
sharing their knowledge and wisdom.
Providing the insight that you were just talking to.
20, 25, 30 years ago, I drew out a triangle. So in your mind right now, think of a triangle. At the bottom is data, next is information, next is knowledge, next is wisdom. The arrow goes up. So before I had access, as a company owner who needs an accountant, before I had access to the data and the information, I needed you to give it to me. And I'd pay and write you a check for that. But now we're heading towards real-time accounting. Real-time accounting, not every 2 months or 6 months or every year. I'm getting it. Matter of fact, we're going to have real-time auditing.
We're getting there right now.
We're getting there right now.
XBRL
and if you heard me
financial
speak
reports.
15 years ago, I was saying that's when we'll be doing it, about now. And some of you might have been in some of my audiences back then. So we're at that point. So if we got real-time auditing, we got real-time accounting, what's the value? The knowledge and wisdom part of the triangle. I still need consultative value from you, and by the way, I pay more for that. I pay more for that. So there is some great value we can do. Every profession's going through this. You're not alone. Like I said, lawyers are going through it right now. Insurance people are going through it. Advertisers are going through it. IT is going through it. I mean, let's face it, I could launch 100 servers right now while you were having this interview thanks to the cloud. And it would cost me less than buying the 100 servers and programming and put all the stuff in there months later or weeks later. The point I'm making is that, does that mean that the IT people are out of work? No. Instead of making sure that everything works and we've all upgraded and we've got security and there's no leaks, they're freed now to do more valuable things. Like what? Help me get competitive advantage from that technology. Learn how to do what my competitors are not doing with it, so that I don't have to worry about keeping up. And you mentioned keeping up in the beginning of this. Let me give you a little take on that. Keeping up is a fool's game. What's the advantage of keeping up? All you're doing is keeping up. What I want advantage. I want to do what you're not doing. I want to see what you're not seeing. That hour a week will help you to do that.
Well, and that was going to be another one of my questions. Where is the competitive advantage for CPAs for doing this? How will they stand out from the competition by doing these things?
Well, first of all, one of the things that's going to really help everyone out there is that, because CPAs tend to be, by nature of their work, they look to the past to come up with insights about the present. And they also, and you and I know this, we're all good at going down to the numbers. We don't stay up at the strategic level very long. You start talking strategy and pretty soon you're already trying to implement it while you should still be up on the strategy part. So what I'm getting at with competitive advantage is, the good news is, it's not going to be easy for a lot of firms to do this. So already, a lot of them will be moving way too slowly. So if you're one of the few that gets it and moves a little faster, based not on the ifs and maybes about the future, forget that, high risk with that. I know we're risk averse. Okay, that's why I came up with the idea that there's hard trends and soft trends. Hard trends will happen whether you like it or not. Soft trends might happen. If you learn how to separate those two, it's not that hard. And you have certainty, which has low risk. Business strategy based on certainty has low risk and high reward. You can go forward very easily, and you can get competitive advantage. Why? Most of your competitors are probably not going to get around to this as fast enough.
Excuse me. Can I ask one final, real quick question? Most important skill that we need to possess going forward, what would you say that would be?
Most important skill, a lot of people would think it's agility, and I think agility is really important, but I'm going to give you another one. I want you to be anticipatory, based on what we do know about the future. See, in the past, we could react to change and basically put out fires and crisis manage. But because change was relatively slow compared to today, you could be reactive. And of course, agility is all about reacting faster. And that's a good thing to have. I want you to be agile, but I'm going to throw on something that's even better, and that is anticipatory. If I start looking at what I can see is going to happen ahead based on the hard trend certainties, I can also see the problems I'm about to have. And what does that mean? Well, I can solve them and not have them in the first place. I actually did a survey, it's a global survey of thousands of CEOs in all sorts of different businesses, and what I found out from that survey is that 98% of the biggest problems they were facing in the present were fully predictable. They just weren't looking. So why don't we start looking? Because if you can predict your problems and solve them so you don't have them, whoa, maybe you can't predict them all, but a lot of them. And now here's another beautiful little thing if you want true competitive advantage. Look at your clients and customers and use certainty and hard trends to predict their problems before they have them, and then go in, point them out, and show them how you can help solve them. And you'll be getting a lot better than an hourly rate.
Daniel Burrus, thank you.
Thank you.